Alright, so the truck is home. It's been home for a couple of days and it's time to start working on it. So today, Dad and I went to the ISUZU dealership, got a new clutch, got I think that's the thrust bearing and the rear main seal and a bunch of flywheel bolts. We got the oil and fuel filter kits and an air filter, so got all the bits. So now I've just taken off the tail shaft and the shifter linkages, so I just got to get under there and keep pulling stuff apart. I'll just do the easy stuff today and then come in tomorrow and try and actually get the gearbox out. So first thing I want to do is take these parts out and put them in the back of the Hilux so that no one can see them, and make sure everything's out of here that will break the windscreen because I'm going to tilt the cab forwards. So I'll do that and then I'll take the bumper down and then I'll lift it all up. So if you've never dealt with a truck before, these eyelets make the bumper hold on. So once you take these out, the whole bumper can tilt. So I'll do that and I'll show you what it looks like. So it's pretty easy, just take those two eyelets out, the whole thing folds forwards. And now I'm going to go down the side of here where it's not much room and I'm going to tilt the rest of the cab forwards. Alright, so I'm in the little groove, so you just got to lift this little pin up and then pull this handle out, which is going to be really hard with one hand, so I'll just put the camera down and I'll show you once I've got to that bit. Alright, so I've got the tilt handle here and the rest of it's all connected to the other side. So as you lift it, you then need to pull this, you need to pull this and then lift it. That's it. That's the engine and accessories. Okay, so last night or yesterday I decided to do some of the easy stuff. So I got the tail shaft out, which you can see over there. It's very heavy. Had to use a jack to lower it. Then I got the dump pipe off and I got all the bolts around the bell housing out. I got the starter out. So, sorry, the starter's still in there but the bolts are out, so I just have to pull it out and undo the wires. And then there's a few wires on top of the gearbox that tell it what to do. And then I think it's the rear mount and it can come out. So before I do that, I've made this plate with a little knob on it. So that is going to replace the top of the jack. So where this slipped in originally and sat in the jack, this is going to slip in and this big plate will be there instead. So that'll give me something to rest the gearbox on and I'll be able to run a ratchet strap around it or something like that and keep it sort of under control, because this thing weighs about 150 kilos apparently. So I don't really want to drop it on myself. So I've made this, so I'll slip this into the jack, run it under the car, or under the truck, jack the gearbox up, take the rear mount off, and I should be able to slide it back, drop it down. And I'm going to show you when I'm done, because this is going to be really hard to film. So the homemade trans jack worked alright. Dale rocked up at the wrong time as always and helped me move the gearbox back and down. And we got the clutch and pressure plate out, and the friction material also came out. And there's a big pile of dust under there. But as you can see, the rivets and there's just metal. There's just metal on this side.
The rivets are pulled through.
Yeah, everything's pulled through the friction material. And this side's horrible, but it's not as bad as you would expect. It's smooth, but it's not like completely trashed. And then the pressure plate's got really hot because you can see it's quite blue. So I need to pull the flywheel out and get that machined because I don't trust this setup at all. Alright, so you just saw me get the clutch out last night, and then today I went and got some different tools. Got the flywheel off. I was struggling like hell last night. Went and got a bigger 3/4 inch 22mm. Took the front of it off because it's got a little like buffer with before the teeth start. So I just ground it back to where the teeth start because these bolts are pretty shallow. And then put it on the rattle gun and I popped it straight off. Then rushed this down to Harman Engineering or Harman Engine Refinishes, and he's smoothed it all off and ground it all down for me, so it's nice and smooth. We can put it back together. So got the new clutch, the new pressure plate, new pilot bearing, and I've got a new thrust bearing and stuff as well, which I have to put in. So under the truck, can't see much because there's a fuel tank. So under the truck, you can see I've cleaned all inside the bell housing. So I just got to replace that bearing and put the flywheel back on. So I've just knocked out the pilot bearing. So when you do this, it's important to get a socket that hits the outside race rather than the inside race or in the middle where the bearings actually are. So you can see this socket's pretty much the same size as the bearing. So I just put it on there, whacked it out, and now I just got to put the new one in. use this tool again so that it goes in square and doesn't bust the center of the bearing out. Let's do that. So just interrupting this video to tell you about my Patreon. So I've started up a Patreon account. It is El Heffe Shop, of course. It's in the description. And if you'd like to join, that'd be great. If not, that's also fine. So it'll get you access to a week's earlier content, and you can talk to me, and you can get a shout out and all that sort of stuff. So check it out. If you don't want to do it, that's cool. If you do want to do it, that'd be great. You're helping the channel. So if not, that's fine. The next thing is stickers. So Emily and I bought a sticker machine. You can't even see this at all. We bought a sticker machine, and we've been making El Heffe Shop stickers. So here's one of the smaller stickers on my computer. We can do a bit bigger if you'd like, but these ones are about 20 centimeters wide. So if you want one of those, inbox me on Instagram and I'll sort you out from there. They're $5 each. So if you buy a sticker, that'd be great. It'll go straight back into the channel and I'll be investing it into the projects and the shed. So if you could do that, that'd be awesome. If you don't want to, that's also fine. So 2 minutes with the hammer in the socket, it's back in. So when you're doing this, make sure that the bearing to the flywheel, take note of how high or low that is. In this case it was even, and it's even on the other side. So just take note of that before you push the old one out so you get it back in the right spot. So now this can go back under the truck and we can get the new bolts in and start doing it up. Okay, so I got the flywheel in place, it's on the dowel correctly, and I've put 2 bolts in, as you can see, just a little bit tight just to pull it all on square. And then when I was out earlier, I grabbed some longer bolts for the pressure plate and longer bolts for the bell housing, and all I've done with those is use them to bolt the flywheel essentially to the bell housing, so this spanner is stopping it from turning, so I should be able to put all the torque I need to into those bolts and do them up. So now what I've got is the new bolts, a little bit of Loctite. They didn't have Loctite from factory, but I'll put a little bit on there, and then I've got a torque wrench, and then I need to get a pry bar and do these up. So the plan is to do them to, I think, 78 Newton meters, and then once I've done that, do 130 to 120 to 150 degree turn afterwards. So I'll get them all in there and I'll get them all up to the 78, and then I'll come around again and tighten them with the brake bar. Getting a bit squeezy under here. I've done the first row of 78 Newton meters, or 58 or something foot-pounds, 58 foot-pounds. So I've marked them all, and now I need to do 120 to 150 degree rotation, which is about here on this one, so all the way around to about there. So 180 would be facing the other way, obviously, so almost facing the other way is essentially what I'm going for. So I'll get the big boy out and go around and do all of those. Okay, so I went around and did them all up with the torque wrench, then went back around, marked everything, and then I've turned them all the 150 degrees that they desired. Then I've cleaned it all with brake cleaner because it had CRC on it, and cleaned all the paint marks off, and then I've remarked them with where they are now. So if anything comes loose when we look in it again, which is hopefully never, we'll know which one came undone or what happened. So, and they've all got 2 dots on them because they've all been double checked. So it's all good to go. So I'll get the flywheel and the pressure plate back on here, and then try and get this gearbox back in, which is going to be a bit of a pain by myself, but we'll see how we go. So I've been having a bit of trouble getting the pressure plate and the clutch to go in. So I've got the gearbox up, put all the bolts in the pressure plate with the clutch in there, put the gearbox in the right spot. I've left myself a little gap so I know that the input shaft is in the clutch, and now I'm just going around and doing up each of the bolts very slowly. So I've done 1 full lap. Now I need to use the pry bar to hold the flywheel and actually get some tension on it. So I'll just mark where I started, go around once or twice and just make sure that everything is nice and snug. And then the gearbox can go on the rest of the way, and then I can button up everything else, the remount and the exhaust and the tail shaft and everything. Say that again.
Quick 4-minute job, 4 days later.
Yeah. So that was miserable. We got everything back together, and we just moved it about a foot, and Em's just moved her car, so I'm going to try and drive it. Well, Tim's going to try and drive it. Have some keys, sir. First is where second should be. Second is where third should be. Etc. It moves! Yay! Now I just need to give it a haircut. There's beer bottles and stuff going everywhere. So we're just getting in the truck to go for a drive. 3 deep.
Oh, fuck yeah.
Oh, fuck yeah. We'll show you the joke later. That beer is pretty useless.
And give you a little something.
Yeah. It's huge. Oh, yeah, it's only like this big, isn't it? Truck, yeah! Just roll this.
Quick Scandinavian flick.
That's 50.
She ripping.
Oh, we got brakes and everything. Straight to reverse. Like 4 days worth of work. I'm going to family lunch tomorrow. I'm definitely taking this. Looks like I bought one. Ugh. So I've been working on the truck for today, and you can see where I washed my hands earlier. That looked clean before I washed my arm. I just came in and looked at my face. The sign's off.